The Breath of Thunder, made famous in the anime by Zenitsu, is without a doubt a fan favorite and a personal favorite of mine. Today we're going to be doing a deep dive of the breath. Not only will we be talking about the past and users, also every single form of the breath. Alongside the other four main breathing styles such as flames, moon, wind, water, stone, thunder, the thunder breathing is a breath that has been passed down from user to user for centuries, leading all the way back to the godfather of the breaths, Yorichi, the original sun-breathing master. Although a little is known about the very first thunder breathing user, but one thing we know for sure is that he was a student of Yorichi. And because of it being one of the 5 original breaths, it is held to a great esteem. And that there were Hashiras who used to use the breath, such as Jugoro. Now, little is known about Jugoro. We actually never got a backstory when he was a Hashira per se. Actually, how cool would it be if we actually got a spin-off of Jigoro and Orokodaki in their younger days? That would have been cool. Anyway, back to the breath. The thunder breathing is a breathing style that mimics lightning, specifically swift strikes and movements akin to lightning ripping through the sky, and it replicates it with the user's movements, their techniques and abilities. Most, if not all, known techniques and forms involve utilizing blinding speeds to close in and use a swift and insanely fast movements to overwhelm the enemy in an instant. Users of thunder breathing also visualize themselves seemingly creating and manipulating lightning when unleashing its techniques. It has been remarked by Zenitsu that his breathing style focuses on channeling strength into the user's legs and maximizing the output of every single muscle and blood vessel in them. Just like seen when Tanjiro used one of the forms of the first form in his fight against Upper Moon 4. He basically used it like a speed boost, which I thought was pretty cool. Users also mimic lightning to a such high accuracy that they cause the air to vibrate when poised to unleash a technique and create immensely loud sounds akin to thunder with their mere footsteps. This breathing style is also very reminiscent of a swordsmanship style practiced and utilized in real life known as Jujutsu. I probably butchered that, but a quick draw sword technique basically. This breathing style is also, as I said before, this was a breathing style that was created by Yorichi's students who attempted to learn the sun breathing, but due to not being as innately powerful as Yorichi himself, they were instead taught an alternated personalized breathing style that focused on their individual strengths and weaknesses, which eventually evolved into thunder breathing. A known teacher of the thunder breathing in the Demon Slayer Corps is the former Thunder Hashira, Jigoro Kuwajima. As we know, breathings evolve and basically new forms of breaths come from the original 5 breaths. Although not all of them, but some, the thunder breathing is no exception. The sound breathing is actually a direct breath that was a version made up within the thunder breathing. And of course, we know that that's a breath used by the sound Hashira, Tengen Uzui. There are 6 in total known techniques of the breath, as I said earlier, and Zenitsu came up with his own form, taking and mastering it by himself to a total 7 forms. Zenitsu, who was only able to do the very first form, which is the most basic form of the breath, had come up with the most powerful form known as the Flaming Thunder God. This is why when you look at Kaikaku and his hatred for Zenitsu really began, because Kaikaku, who also was a student of Jigoro, couldn't master the very first form, a form that was the most simplistic form, and Zenitsu, who was very weak in comparison to Kaikaku, was able to master the only form that Kaikaku couldn't master, the first form. Although Kaikaku mastered the other 5 forms, it still bothered him that Tanjiro, a weakling like Tanjiro, was able to not only master the first form but hone it to perfection. While Zenitsu knows only the first form, we have to keep in mind one thing, that it does not mean he is weak. In fact, it's the quite opposite. Just like the great quote from Bruce Lee when he said the famous quote, "I do not fear the man who has practiced 1,000 kicks, but a man who has practiced 1 kick 1,000 times." The same concept can be used for Zenitsu, as he honed his first form to perfection, to the point where he even came up with an inverse of other forms within the first form, as we will talk about in a little bit. Let us next get into the thunder breathing techniques. The thunder breathing has 6 standard forms in total, with the first form said to be the foundation for all other forms. However, Zenitsu developed a 7th form in order to stand on equal ground with Kaikaku, his former disciple under Jugoro, who had become the upper rank 6 of the 12 Kizuki. Since the 2nd to 6th form has only been displayed by Kaikaku, who uses lightning in conjunction with his swordsmanship, it is currently unknown how a normal swordsman would perform these techniques. The first form is called Thunder, Clap, and Flash. Ichido Kata Hakireki Ise. Basically, I probably butchered that, but the user unsheathes their katana, dashes forward at a blinding speeds, and decapitates their opponent faster than they can react before sheathing it back. This technique is extremely reminiscent of Jujutsu, and its movements are described to be akin to lightning ripping through the air. In fact, we see this first in I think episode 6 or 7 when Tenjiro used to save the little kid. This was the first form we saw in the series. An extension of the Thunderclap Flash inverse technique within the first form we have is called the 6th fold. Zenitsu performs Thunderclap and Flash 6 times in quick succession while slightly augmenting the power and speed of his dashes. The second inverse form that we have is called 8th fold. Zenitsu performs Thunderclap and Flash again for 8 times, this time in quick succession, while slightly augmenting the power and the speed of his dashes once more. Then we have God Speed, the fastest version of the technique. Zenitsu performs Thunderclap and Flash yet again while greatly augmenting the speed of the technique. During the first display of this technique, an unconscious Zenitsu remarked that he mustn't perform this technique more than 2 times, otherwise his legs would be rendered useless due to muscle fatigue and exhaustion. However, during the battle against Musan, Zenitsu has shown improvement in the proficiency of this technique, allowing him to use it more than 2 times while still maintaining the power and speed of the technique. The second form, called Rise Spirit, Kaikaku releases 5 arched slashes made of lightning in quick succession. The third form, Thunder Swarm, Kaikaku surrounds the enemy with waves of arched lightning and attacks them from all directions. Fourth form, called Distant Thunder, Kaikaku generates a ball of electricity that releases waves of strong multi-directional lightning bolts from afar. The fifth form, called Heat Lightning, Kaikaku unleashes a long-range upward sword slash made of lightning. The sixth form, called Rumble and Flash, Kaikaku releases a series of very powerful long-range lightning attacks that strike his opponents from afar. The seventh form, which is the strongest form and a personal creation of Zenitsu, called Flaming Thunder God. Zenitsu dashes forward at blinding speeds and unleashes a singular forward slash that is seemingly accompanied by a yellow Japanese dragon shaped like a lightning bolt. Without a doubt, this is, in my opinion, the coolest breathing in the entire series. Like, who doesn't love lightning? Come on now, you'd have to be joking if you said you do not like it. But basically, I hope I have done the video a justice and explained this breathing form in a way that was both interesting and simple. That being said, I will definitely make this a series where I go over every breath in the show, so definitely subscribe to not miss those videos. That being said, thanks so much for watching. Until next time.